don't think that's a way to run a business or a city. I don't know how you make decisions unless you sit there and can get comprehensive information and not just rely on your memory of what happened at the last meeting. Again, you can't do it by telepathy. And you can't do it by just plain old recollection. You're dealing with millions of dollars. Now, I was critical about the fact that the audit information was not disclosed. You sat on it. It's vital to the city. It's vital to us. Another piece here fits in, and I'll finish in a couple of minutes. As you know, I've been investigating issues relating to the fishing pier, which is under reconstruction. It took me a lot of time and very much effort to find out, after piecing all the things together from various sources, that you had a bid to reconstruct the pier last May for $2.6 million. And in plain everyday language, you blew it because the papers, the documents we have now show that the bid was withdrawn by the low bidder. I think it was Mid-Atlantic Company. In the morning of the day when that evening you accepted the bid. Now, this is very puzzling. How do you accept the bid that was withdrawn, and how do you do that without disclosing to your employers, the taxpayers, that you had a problem with the bid when you awarded it?
Because I believe in
Let me finish. Let me finish. No, I'm not. It's rhetorical, please. I won't interrupt you, I promise.
I thought you were asking me a question.
No, I'm not. You can answer whatever you want, whenever you want.
I apologize.
This is my summation now. The record is clear that when you wanted an extension to award the bid, you got a letter from the controller of Mid-Atlantic that was later withdrawn by the owner saying the controller had no authority to do that. But that doesn't matter. What matters is you never got an extension from the insurance company that issued the bond on the bid. That never happened, therefore you blew it right at that point. And if I didn't have all the training I had and experience, I wouldn't have known that. You shouldn't have somebody who used to charge a lot of money per hour for this kind of analysis figure it out. Any citizen should be able to know it. But it's not discernible to someone without training who's willing to sift through all the documents and sit for hours and try to piece them together and then figure out something is missing and look for it. That's how I did it. Something was missing. It's the failure to notify the surety. And gentlemen, you blew it. You should have been upfront about it and taken the responsibility for failing to keep an eye on the calendar and getting the right people, including the insurance company, to give you the extension you needed. And by the way, I think you missed the deadline by like 3 days. To me, it's shocking that none of this was disclosed, and it's not excusable in my book. I'm delighted that there's police enforcement when people say we have too much crime in this part of town, and you show up and take care of it. I would be more delighted if the enforcement were there before people had to write you letters or call you. I'm delighted there's going to be strict code enforcement, and as you were told, it should be strict all over the city, not just targeted in one place. And there should be strict code enforcement, otherwise why do we have codes? It shouldn't happen because people complain, it should happen because that's how you're supposed to run the city. The people who love Ventnor now have another source other than your website for information, because your website doesn't provide the information I just said you never supplied before.
Can I ask you the name of that website?
Yes, and I welcome the question. It's called weloveventnor.org. You will find on there weloveventnor altogether.org. Sorry, Pinky, that's one source of information. And there will be print matter too, which will give to the people the fruit of the hard labors by many citizens with no axe to grind other than to get government to be responsive, responsible, and open, you'll have more information than you'll ever find on the city's website. You'll have the pier reports going back to 2003, when you were told in writing and never disclosed that the fishing pier was a danger to life and limb, they should limit the number of people on there, that the fishermen know not to lean on the railings, because the railings are in some places were held together by duct tape, and yet another use for duct tape. That the railings were not secured to the boardwalk because the bolts were gone, they were just hanging free. I've seen the pictures. Taken in 2003. You were told not to have large groups on the pier. You were told to get people off the pier in high winds.
And we did that.
It was very serious, and this report was not disclosed to the public, but you can now read it on weloveventnor.org, and it should have been disclosed. It really matters to people, and you exposed us, the taxpayers, to very serious litigation if someone, God forbid, had gotten hurt because of the dangerous condition of the pier you knew about and didn't disclose. I think that's enough for one night. Thank you.